Emily Bax. There's her page if y'all want to go support. All right. Let's see.
Okay, so like I mentioned, I guess this is going to be like part one of, I don't know, I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm not trying to do like 30 parts, guys. I just really need to talk about it. So I've actually known Kendra since 2018. We both used to live in the same city in Oregon.
Oregon?
We actually met through an extracurricular activity that we were both in and became like really good friends while we lived out there. In 2020, I moved away, and then shortly after, she moved to where she is now. And as with like a lot of things in 2020, we kind of like lost touch, and so like we weren't like texting each other all the time, but we were like still friends on Instagram. And over time, like she made it very public when she went sober, and I just always kind of remembered that and supported her. And
Wait, but she literally said if you have ADHD, you have to fucking drink beer. She literally said that, bro. So she's sober? She's not taking her own advice? Oh, hell no. I knew she was a phony, bro. Fucking big ass fucking phony.
And this past spring, I had an incident where I was in a position where like I really needed to go on a sobriety journey. And I was at like a really low point, and I was just like, who can I reach out to that I know that's like been through this? And I thought of Kendra, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder, I hope that like she'd be able to like talk to me about it, like as a friend. We had been friends for a really long time, and I was really hoping that like as a friend she would be able to like help me with this new journey that I was going to go on. So I had reached out to her, and that's when she basically like tried to get me to do her coaching. Okay, I'm going to try to input the screenshot from her text, but I'm not great at TikTok, so TBD. Okay, I'm going to...
Hey, Kendra, Emily reaching out to see if you have some time this week to chat sobriety, starting journey. Hi, Emily. Good to hear from you. I'd love to chat. Use my link to book a... Oh, my God, bro. She just wants to chat to a friend. Not fucking book you, bro. Don't worry about the questions asking about paying for coaching. Glad to reach out. Talk to you soon. Bro, just call her. You have her number. You literally have her number, bruh. Oh, hey. She made her pay. No, mamas.
I'm going to try to input the screenshot from her text, but I'm not great at TikTok, so TBD. But I had like reached out to her for some advice, and she told me to book a session and that we would talk more about it. This should have been a red flag.
Yeah, a big ass red flag, bruh. Imagine you hit up your homie, right? Hey, yo, I want to I just want to have a conversation. You send him a fucking link, bro. Book an appointment, dog, to chat with me, bro. Book a fucking appointment. Yeah, bro. I'm leaving, dude. I'm fucking leaving.
Okay, so this is really awkward, guys.
Is it this?
Okay, so
There you go.
Okay, so I guess this is part 2 of I don't know who the hell I was friends with and let coach me and take advantage of me at like a really vulnerable time in my life.
Okay, that's a fucking long ass name. Just get to it, bro.
Okay, so like I mentioned, you can like scrub through my last video and see like the screenshot of the text between us. But basically I had like reached out to her for help with sobriety, and she said, great, let's hop on Zoom and have a conversation about it. So we did a few days later, and this was like in March earlier this year. And we like talk about like what prompted me to want to go sober and just kind of like her experience with sobriety and everything. And she then starts the pitch of like, I do think like it'd be really great if we like didn't just talk as friends, like if we really worked on this together in a coaching relationship, and that like this is really crazy that like I've been brought to her, and like this must be like divine intervention that we're like coming back into each other.
That's already another red flag. She wants to speak to you not as a friend but as a coach. I think that's a red flag.
There's lies and everything, and I was like, yeah, like I think it could be great, but I still just like need a little bit of time to think about it, because like again, a lot of stuff was going on with me at the time, and she said, well, normally it is like ADHD coaching, but like I'm more than happy to do like sobriety coaching with you. I've already sent you.
And just especially if you're already in that field, I feel like you would just help a friend out, you know? Just give them advice, help them out as a friend, not charge them. Thank you for the gifts. Not charge them, and then, you know, one-on-one client or whatever. The fact that Kendra took her friend on as a client and didn't recognize the ethical implications with that dynamic speaks volumes. Yeah, that's why it's crazy, dude.
The invoice and the contract to sign, and I said I really would like to think about it, and she's like, now's the time, don't think, just do, like you won't regret doing it. So I see the invoice, and the invoice is for $3,000 for 3 months.
What? Bitch. Fuck no. Dude. 3,000. Your friend is charging you $3,000 for coaching, dog. $3,000. Oh my God, no. I'm sorry, bro. But if this shit happened to me, let's just say Miriam say, yeah, I'll talk to you. And then fucking pulls out the fucking receipts talking about, yo, okay, that would be 3,000. No, man, I'm sorry. We're done being friends. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, man. That's insane. Yeah, go ask fucking dude. And I bet you Kendra's using ChatGPT for all her fucking answers, dude.
And these are going to be like once a week, 45-minute long sessions. And I, just got really caught up in the moment. And I said, you know what? And I was really desperate. I think that's like a key thing. I was really desperate, and I did. I signed the contract and I tried to pay.
You could actually get real help with that money, bro. You could get real help with that money. And the fact that you signed the contract and still went with fucking Kendra is, yeah, man. You're kind of dumb too, respectfully. But I'm pretty sure she knows that now, right?
And I did. I signed the contract and I tried to pay. And my card wouldn't go through because it was like an unknown vendor through Stripe. And my bank was like, we're not going to authorize this payment. And I was like, oh, well, it won't go through.
That's another sign. Hello.
Friday night. Like, I'll just call in the morning and like get it sorted out. And she's like, I really want you to do it right now. Call your bank right now. And I'll like stay on the phone with you. So we're like on Zoom and I'm like calling my bank, and I tried for like 30 minutes and none of it was working. And
fuck no. I'm crashing out. I'm gonna crash out, chat. I'm gonna fucking crash out, man. There's no way, bro. There's no fucking way.
Eventually I was just like, okay, I'm like, it's not working. I'm just gonna have to try again in the morning. And I don't know why I felt like I was being held hostage. I was in my home office. I was on Zoom. I could have just like hung up the call, and I honestly wish I did. But again, I was just like at a really low point and kept going, and that's on me. And I soon learned to regret it. So, yeah, I guess in the next part I'll talk about like what our coaching was look like, and then in the fourth part I'll do like how we ended.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Okay, so yes, I did just pay $3,000 for her. So this is mid-March. And I will say, like, at the beginning, a lot of that we talked about for sobriety, like, was really useful. And I am glad that, like, at that really low point, I did have someone who, like, was for all
Thank ChatGPT, bro. You got all your fucking answers from there.
intents and purposes, like, on my team. Where it started getting weird is like when I did my intake form, she did mention something about like human design, and I'd never heard about human design, and I genuinely thought that it was going to be like some sort of like psychology thing, or just kind of talking about how like we're like naturally inclined to like drink and like have addictive personalities. And boy, was I wrong. Human design is like similar to astrology. It uses your birth chart and it tells you like what kind of type you are. And if I had to guess, I don't really buy into human design, if I'm going to be 100%. After 3 months of learning about it, I'm not into it. And that is like mainly what drove our coaching was human design. And if I do believe that's like what a lot of her ADHD coaching is like talking about your human design. So she does my chart and it comes to find out that like I'm in like the 1% of people. I'm a reflector, which I guess is like the finger of God. And she kept talking about how like
the finger of God? Huh?
I'm the finger of God. That would come up like all throughout like the 3 months that we were talking.
Hello.
It's just like I'm the finger of God, and when this like reckoning happens in 2027 and the new world order comes through, that like I'm gonna be one of the people who's like really leading it. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. I don't really know how this is like relevant to sobriety. And that is truthfully like when I started to check out. It was probably like a month and a half into our session, so it's like mid-May at this point. She was also out of town for a part of it, so like we started sessions like early April. April was fine. May it started to get weird, and the rest of the sessions in June I just like hated it. All we would talk about is like human design, but we wouldn't even really like talk about it and discuss it. She would just like read from this book and talk about like
the book is called Henry, for those that didn't know. It's called Henry.
Guru, or like the guy who like came up with human design, and it was just like it was weird and bizarre, and I didn't like it. And it also just like wasn't helpful at all. So I like basically started to check out, and like luckily our sessions were like starting to come to an end, which like thank God, because in June is when it got really fucking weird. And okay, so we're now getting to the part of coaching with Kendra, part 4, whatever. I don't know where I am in this, but basically I'm heated right now. Basically, I start disengaging in our sessions, and I think she's really picking up on it, and she's just like reading me all this shit about human design. And then she also starts doing this thing with cognitive behavioral therapy, which I am familiar with CBT. She is not licensed to do CBT. And when we first started our sessions, she like made sure to like reiterate that like she wasn't a licensed therapist and therefore like isn't going to do things like that. And then turned around months later and started doing cognitive behavioral therapy. And this is also when she started talking about Henry, aka Chat GPT.
Henry.
And I'm not very like
Henry poo poo.
Use artificial intelligence at work. Like it's very encouraged. So like I'm very familiar with like what these language learning models are like, and I know that like you can't just like start asking it random shit about yourself like at all. That is how spiritual psychosis happens.
That's what happened to her, bro. That's what happened to Kendra.
That might just be what's happening at this point. So she's like encouraging me to use ChatGPT for cognitive behavioral therapy, which is
Isn't that what happened to fucking Mermaid or Catherine? Spiritual psychosis? That's the same shit she had too, bro.
super dangerous. And I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you like how crazy that is to me. And that's when I was like, okay, like we're done. How many more sessions do we have? Can we end this nightmare? So luckily my sobriety is going well, because coaching's definitely not. So I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to use ChatGPT. And she was just like, I would just really encourage you to do it. And at this point, we only have like one session left. And she's like, I really think that you would be a great candidate to do this past life therapy that I've really been working on. And so she essentially decides to use me like as a guinea pig to get into past life therapy. And I am not into it. Like, do I kind of believe in past lives? Sure. Do I think that like this random chick that I know from Oregon who has now telling me to use ChatGPT for my therapist is going to help me discover what past life blockages are like helping me? Absolutely the fuck not. So we get on Zoom and she's trying to do this through Zoom. So we get on Zoom and she starts asking the spirit and doing all this stuff. And we just start like speed running through these past lives. And like, I'm dying, I'm killing people. I say, hell yeah. She said that's really not a good thing, whatever. But basically, like, that was our last session. She's like, you should totally leave me a review. And I was like, I'm going to be honest, Kendra, I am not going to do that. Like, I am not happy with where this ended. And I think it's really weird that you're telling me to use ChatGPT. And I think it's really weird that we're doing this past life therapy. Like, that part's not helpful. Again, I really think the beginning was helpful, but like towards the end, it got really weird. So that's what happened.
Is that it? Is that all?
I had to come inside because I was getting too heated. Because the more and more I think about it, the more I'm just
Okay, it says final thoughts. So this might be the last one, chat.
This is literally insane, and I feel like a lot of my trust was broken. So to recap, go and watch those other videos, and I'll leave it with this for right now. So we had started our coaching relationship right after she stopped seeing the psychiatrist that she was like in love with and like broke up with her other therapist. And I had no idea that this was going on as I came to her like in a time of need, and then was asked to pay $3,000 for coaching. And again, the sobriety thing was helpful. I was sober during that time. I am now with a much different path of care.
She's all drunk and shit.
But when we derailed and started doing cognitive behavioral therapy via ChatGPT, doing human design work, but not really doing the work, just reading from the book from like the guru dude, and then finally doing past life therapy and exploring all my past lives with a pendulum via Zoom, I was done and I was out. And I literally was talking to like my friends and family and being like, I feel like I really made a huge mistake, like going into this. Like, yes, it did help with my sobriety, but like at what cost? Literally what cost? $3,000.
$3,000. I was about to say that. $3,000. And you didn't fucking have money to buy beer or alcohol. Yep.
To be told to use ChatGPT. And then honestly, all of this to come and find out, and I get on TikTok randomly and see her blowing up over this like crazy, insane delusion between her and her psychiatrist. And I realized that like, oh, I was just coached for the last 3 months by someone who is not in their right of mind. Like, I don't want to say that like she's psychotic or anything like that, because that's rude and like not right. Like,
but she is. Sorry. I don't want to be fucking rude, dude. Sorry.
That was fucking rude.
This is someone that I was friends with for a really long time, and like I still am gonna have to like wrestle with that, and the fact that like now that I'm unpacking all these feelings about like feeling like I got taken advantage of and everything, but like, yeah, this is a lot, and like she's a lot, and the fact that she like isn't acknowledging that like maybe there was some side of it that like was to her, and like we don't get to see the side of the psychiatrist because obviously like he's a professional.
Yo, should we book an appointment with Kendra, dude? Should we raise $3,000 for the content to book a fucking appointment with Kendra, bro? Damn.
And like, I don't want to discount anyone's lived experience, but girly pop calling him a Pisces isn't why it's going on. It sounds like you were receiving.
It's for content though. I'll have it live. I'm like, Kendra, I can only do this if we're live, bro.
Palatable care, and instead you chose to cling on to that for some reason, and now you're asking people to pay you thousands of dollars to lead them down a path that like you have no business leading them down at all. And that's that on that. I'm gonna go fix dinner and do something else besides this, because honestly, what the fuck?
What the fuck? Hold on, I actually liked her. What the fuck? Let me keep it just in case. No, stop listening to Kendra. She's making you the Lulu. What if this whole time I told you guys she was my fucking therapist, whatever you want to call it? That's why I'm using this whole satire thing now.